Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to What's Up Wednesdays with the professionals of the Roundtable. As always, we are brought to you by Healing Your Way. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Be sure to check us out. And please remember, if you like the podcast, to like, share, comment, all the things. It really does help us out. Today, we are joined by
Patel.
Always a pleasure. Today, we are talking about
Thank you.
today's youth, today's problems, and today's solution, which is a very broad topic. Would you like to give us just a nice intro, nice overview?
Yeah, lots going on with today's youth. A lot of them are in parents' basements, living at home and not going anywhere fast. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it is. It's a tech world, and they seem to be stuck in a bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a lack of drive, it seems like.
Totally. Lack of drive, lack of motivation. And why do you need any of that? I mean, you can just look it up. Chat GPT will tell you the answer. You don't need to know anything anymore.
Yeah,
Base.
absolutely. All the answers are right here anymore.
Yeah,
You Google,
exactly.
you don't have to learn anything. Calculators on your phone.
Mhm.
100%. It draws you back.
Oh my God. So yesterday I was, getting ready for sleep, and I was just scrolling through my Instagram, and a video popped up. I mean, I think it was Jimmy Fallon laying down in a hospital room. Something was going on with him, maybe getting operated on. And there were two doctors, and one of them was Snoop Dogg. And the whole title of the thing was Dr. Google. I mean, does that say enough to you for what's happening right now? It's you look up what even the doctors will look up what's happening, what's their treatment plan, and follow the instructions, right? That's what they're saying. That's really what's happening these days. And it's kind of sad. Kids are lost. I don't know what your childhood was like, but I'm going to tell you mine. My mom was home, maybe, maybe not.
Mhm.
I was oldest, so I was in charge of my brother and sister and my cousin. So I was raising children, a child raising other children. We were outside all the time in the sun playing, you know, even wintertime. I remember my fingers freezing. It was so cold. My gloves were wet and I still wouldn't go in because we had to finish playing, do whatever we were doing or making an igloo or something like that. And we were not inside the house, and there was no internet, there was no computers, nothing. It was just people to people contact. The games were nice, easy, and simple. Um, you were running around, so you'd eat healthy foods at home because back then, still, that's what we had. Mom cooked. We ate those foods, and then we ran outside, played around, and burned off those good foods. Nowadays, there's McDonald's, Burger King, there's everything. Quick and easy food, and a phone at your hand every second. Gaming, that you don't even have to live in this world anymore, you know? And even if the kids think nowadays that they're half here and they feel that they're present, their presence, if you ask somebody at my age group, what does it mean to be present in your life uh, without technology? They don't understand what that means. When's the last time they were outside in the sun? God knows. That's what life is like today versus what was happening back then.
Yeah.
And the inspiration, I think, for the conversation really was college age kids, and entitlement. Um, they don't have to work hard anymore because, like I said, they can look everything up. Parents provide everything these days. And all they have to do is go to school, parents paying for the money. They don't think about how much hard work that the parents had to do
Hmm.
to pay for the schooling. And they're retaking classes, still getting below perfect grades. And I say that because I think they could have gotten good grades. They can, but they're not putting in the effort and they're not caring. There's a complacency and it's strange. There's no drive, there's no motivation. And we were talking about that earlier. Then there's a sense of, there's also ignorance and that feeling of, if you approach them and say something, the behavior of, oh, I don't know, who, me? And it's interesting because they do know exactly who you were talking to and about what. But that kind of reaction from them, they think that everybody else thinks they don't know,
Hmm.
you know? And you had a word for that, right?
Yeah, I still can't remember what the exact word is, but it's almost like malicious ignorance in a way, where
Mhm.
you're given a task, wash the dishes,
Yeah.
but you do it so poorly
Mm,
that nobody ever asked you to do it again.
yes, correct. And you behave that you're not capable, like you said, do it so poorly, or that you're not intelligent enough. And like, oh, what? You said what? And I ran into my cousin's daughter, smart kid. I know she's smart. She went to Clemson, did well. She's an engineer. But when you go to talk to her, there's avoidance behavior. So in order to avoid, she'll say, oh, what? You said talk to me? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Okay. And she'll move her eyes and do her behavior as if she doesn't understand you. So then you don't even bother because you're like, oh, she won't get it,
Mm.
you know? And oh gosh, I mean, the whole thing, the whole acting, everything is so good in this generation. And I have to say, our generation, my generation, can be easily to blame. And the reason I say that, and why do today's kids have these problems, right?
Mm.
Because parents give them everything, provide
Yeah.
without expecting. Eh, The boundaries aren't there, especially because there's new things happening like the technology. You know? So my generation, for example, we had it hard. We did not have it easy. I think we're called Generation X or Z, or I don't even know what it's called anymore. But we really had it tough, right? We've gone through hard times where mom was working, dad was working, nobody was home.
Hmm.
We had to take care of ourselves and each other. And if there was trouble, oh well, you were dealing with it because nobody was there to help you. Um, there was landlines. So if you were somewhere else and you didn't have a quarter in your pocket, good luck,
Yeah.
you know? And because of the hard times that we dealt with, I really don't want my kids to go through that. Our parents did not connect with us because they would come home tired and exhausted. They
Right.
worked hard. They come home tired and exhausted. They don't want to deal with kids and kids' problems. They just want to relax, calm their mind, and eat their food and go to sleep. So basically, we were kind of ignored and forced in a hard way to grow up by ourselves because there were still expectations.
Hmm.
My dad expected me to get good grades and do well. Behavior wise, you better behave properly, no disrespect and help people out. And that was always the case. Danny had gone through his own hard time being in Cambodia through the Khmer Rouge. Um, his hard time is is unfathomable, right? To have to see death, not be fed, be separated from your parents. I mean, I had some of that. My parents left me for a year in India, while they came to settle here. But what are today's kids experiencing? None of that.
Yeah.
You know, if you had to be in India and communicate with your parent, forget it. There's no communication. Nowadays, there is FaceTime. Everybody's got a cell phone. You know, you can connect, you can talk, you can do everything. Not back then. You know, back then you had to deal with your own feelings and get over them if you could, you know? So as you grow up working hard, as a kid, because I was working since I was 11 years old at my parents' shop. I
Mhm.
was tall enough so they could get away with it. Otherwise, it would be child labor issues. And Danny, same thing when he was in Asia, he was working since he was like 7, very young, you know. My kids did not work at that age. They did not have a job at that age, you know. I'm grateful that my kids work hard. They are motivated and they listen well, but I spend a lot of time with them, you know. Um, but not not every parent is does that. They're
Yeah.
busy doing their own thing. But what's happened is on the part of the parent, they had such a hard time that they just decided, well, it's not decided. You don't want to have your kid to have the same experience as you did. So you go easy on your child. And if they want something, you provide it, not thinking of the impact you're having on your child, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know what your experience is and how your parents treated you, but you're also younger. You are kind of almost like a youth of today.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in 2001. Like, I'm a
Mhm.
baby, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I was brought up kind of in that threshold where technology was starting
Mhm.
to become super popular. In every household, cell phones were starting to become touchscreen. Um, but with that being said, my parents did instill very good values into me and my brother. We came home from
Definitely.
work, we sat down at the table, we did our homework.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
didn't leave the table until our homework was done. We'd have dinner as a family. We would go do our football and cheerleading, which was a family activity. My parents were the coaches.
Mhm.
Kevin played for my dad. I played, or I cheered with my mom as my coach.
Mhm.
And then we would come home and we would watch TV finally.
Yay.
We always had the very good balance where school always came first.
Yes.
When I was old enough to get a job, I did.
Mhm.
Kevin always knew that he was going to join the army, so he wasn't too driven to
Mhm.
get a
Yeah,
job because the army was going to be his career.
I see.
But my parents raised us never to have do anything. Swap
Mhm.
that out for an explicit. Um,
Yes.
if you're going to do something, you do it well. And if you don't do it well, then you're starting over.
Agreed. I agree with that totally. And I say same thing. I change the ending. If you're gonna do something, do it right or don't do it at all.
Mhm.
You know?
And
And
not
that's
doing it was never an option.
right. Not doing any doing nothing is not an option. Correct.
Mhm.
Find something different. And that's how I feel. Correct. So you had a pretty decent upbringing because you had parents who understood how to provide you time and attention you needed and the boundaries you needed and the guidance you needed
100.
to yeah. Because I mean, I've known you for a while now. You come into my house and very respectful, um, well mannered. I mean, I can't say good enough things that we just all love you as a, you know, my family loves you and can't ask for better people like that. You know, if there's anything we need, never ask for anything back. I never hear from you saying I need this or I need that. It's like, what can I do for you? Without even asking, you do what's needed. And that's rare, right? That's rare
Yeah.
these days because most kids want to know, what can you do for me?
Mhm.
And that's their question. And that should not be the question, because that is the laziness and the complacency and the entitlement, that I am entitled to you giving me what I need.
Mhm.
And it's because, like I said, a lot of boundaries, guidance, support, monitoring, not being a helicopter parent, but monitoring what's going on with your children, wasn't happening. And I know I watch many parents give their phone to their little child,
Oh.
like 2, 3 years old, even
Mhm.
younger, sit them in front of a screen and let them hold their phone and push buttons and watch a video. So the parents did not raise those kids. The internet did.
Mhm.
And once you get hooked onto that, and that is what the child mentally needs, a stimulation, it is their reward. Because the child, if you take away the device from the child, they will cry, scream up and down for it back. And the behavior is ridiculous, you know? In my generation, right? If you did something like that, it was a five finger.
Yep. Slap
And
across
yeah,
the eye.
yeah. And you were correct and straight, you know?
Mhm.
Now, nowadays, the screaming is so loud from the child, the parent doesn't know what to do
Yep.
but hand the device back. That's crazy. But this was allowed to happen. And when you talk about today's problems, these are today's problems. Kids that are not properly educated because they don't put the time and effort in, kids who are lazy and not motivated to do anything, kids who are unhealthy because they're inside the house all the time eating processed foods and not out in the sun. Okay. You got all those things happening and they're unproductive. They're not going anywhere. And that's the problem for today's youth. And then why do the reason we have the problem, said clearly, the parents of my generation, we did not do our jobs to guide the kids properly because of our own problems as well as the technology, and we let technology raise our children because it was easier. It was, I got work to do, I'm too busy to give you time, so here.
Yeah.
you know
More convenient.
uh Say that again.
It's more convenient.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the problems and these are the reasons why these things happen. Now, what is it that can help these situations? Because there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. It goes from talking about health issues. We're also going to talk about how COVID impacted.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was, oh my God, so I had parents talk to me about what was going on with their kid, you know, depression. Uh, they lost themselves because of COVID. My own children were struggling. They hated online schooling and they didn't understand being stuck, not being able to do what they enjoy doing. And everything changed for that 6 months to a year.
Mhm.
And then the masks. Oh gosh, you know, it was so frustrating for them as children to have to deal with that. So let's go back to let's see. First thing that happens, and I'll say this, and I've said this multiple times already in different podcasts, is the vaccines right from birth are a real issue. Because here you have a healthy child that is born, and you vaccinate that child, and you've already caused an issue in their nervous system and their immune system, you know? And the vaccine schedule is ridiculous. So If you decide you want to vaccinate your child, fine, the choice is yours, but you can at least separate it out, you know? Instead of having 3 vaccines for the child in one session, you can separate it.
Mhm.
Okay. And you can ask for single dose vaccines versus vaccines that I think they in one vial, they will be able to draw out like multiple doses because they have preservative in there. And the preservative is toxic.
Mhm.
But if you have a single dose, then that gets thrown away and it's fresh and clean, properly packaged, and there's no need to add some of the stuff. Healthier of the two evils, right? And so, but vaccines, imagine having given your nervous system that is growing and developing, your brain, your entire body is growing and developing, and you vaccinate with, I don't even know how many vaccines are on the schedule. Right when everything is developing, you just literally bombard the nervous system.
Mhm.
It doesn't have energy to focus on your growth and well being. It's busy trying to fight diseases.
Yeah.
And these kids end up with allergy issues to the point that it can be detrimental to their life, right? If what are they? Those that need the EpiPen, they have such bad allergies to dairy and gluten that if they're exposed to it, they can go straight into shock and seizure and all these
Yeah.
things. That's crazy. It's vaccine related.
And
Doesn't
they don't
sc-
do that for any other animal either.
You were correct on that.
Like
Yes.
my dog is, and I know people and animals are very different, but
No,
my
they're
dog,
not different. They're not.
she didn't get fully vaccinated until she was almost 1. We had to
Mhm.
space out the vaccines. I mean, granted, she's 10 pounds, but we
Yeah.
had to space out the vaccines so that way it would be safe for her to
Wow.
receive them.
See that? They consider that for the dog.
And they wait for their first. I think the first vaccine they get is the distemper.
Mhm.
They still wait a little while to get their first dose.
Wow. Oh, when you come out, you get the hepatitis vaccine day 1.
Yeah.
And that is a very destructive vaccine to get. And it just continues, you know? It causes ADD, ADHD, autism. And then when you have kids like this, it's easier to stick them on a screen when it's hard to deal with their health issues, right? You got a hyperactive kid. Here you go, calm down. Here, watch your video.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh gosh, I can just go on. The foods that the parents feed these kids, not realizing. But the thing is, there's so much brainwashing going on in our culture, you know? Um, It used to be go eat your Wheaties, and the Olympian on the box of the Wheaties. And who's the Olympian this time to be able to be put on the Wheaties box, right? No, Wheaties didn't really have sugar in them, even though it was a processed cereal, right? But now they got, what's it, Frankenberries, Fruit
Yeah.
Loops,
Yeah.
fake marshmallow,
Mm-hmm.
lots of color.
Yeah.
Oh
And
god,
not to
and then
mention the big bold sugar free on everything
oh,
now, as if aspartame isn't worse for you.
exactly, aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, and who's looking at the box? Oh, um, high fructose corn syrup. If it is full of sugar, it's the worst kind of sugar. It's not real sugar. It's high fructose corn syrup. And these things are the worst. Fruit roll-ups, they're not real fruit. Look at the color.
Yeah.
We used to have natural fruit roll-ups growing up, And there was never two roll-ups that looked that similar.
Mhm.
And it didn't, the color was never that bright, you know? But no, these fruit roll-ups have high fructose corn syrup, so they've added sugar, color, and so many other ingredients. And nobody's eating, as Chris Cormier said on his podcast, and Sahan likes to say it. I really like the way he said it. God made. Nobody's eating that. Everybody's eating man-made.
Yeah.
You know, uh, you take the wheat, you beat it up, you bleach it up, you process it, and grind it up, add fillers, other things to it, put it in a box, and everybody loves to eat that.
Mhm.
Give them a nice, healthy piece of real bread, not the fake Wonder Bread, you know? And no, they don't want to eat that so much. They want to eat the Wonder Bread. It's nice and spongy. And nowadays, everybody makes dessert with bread.
Yeah.
That is such a funny concept to me. Whereas you would before use whole products, now you can just soak the bread in syrup and make it into any kind of dessert you want, or soak it into make tiramisu with you soak it in bread and soak the bread in milk or whatever tiramisu is soaked in, and they make the dessert. What's left? There's not, dessert is already processed. What's left? And if you're this, and the amount of sugar that parents are feeding the children these days is outrageous. Everything has sugar in it. Even if you go to the healthy section of the cereal, it's coated with sugar.
Mhm.
It's not just the cereal itself, like a granola with some nuts and say raisins or dried cranberries or something. No, it has some chocolate chips, which is fine still, but then it has added sugar on top
Yeah.
for you to give it to your kids so they will enjoy the food. And the fruits they give are in cups, right? Those little dole cups. And that's what people, I don't let my kids eat those things. I mean, that's what people would bring for at school. That's what you're supposed to give during snack time. And processed foods has really killed. First you vaccinate, then you give this processed food, and then you put them in front of the screen all day long. What do you think is happening to your child?
Setting up for failure.
Totally. And then they're living in your basement because they got ADHD, ADD, ADHD, autism, can't function, depression, anxiety, and they don't go outside, and they don't really care if they have friends, and they have every mental, emotional, social issue that the social media feeds them
Mhm.
that they have. And what were you saying, that they're self-diagnosing these days,
Oh,
everything?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely self-diagnosing. They look online and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I get sad sometimes. Hey Google, what does it mean when you get sad sometimes? I have depression."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See that? That is crazy. So then what would a kid do at that point? Go to the parent and go, "Mommy, I got depression. Take me to the doctor." Kids these days, they're on pills,
Mhm.
depression medication, Ritalin, or there's another um,
Adderall.
version of that, Adderall.
Adderall.
Yes, correct. And they're on these medications and they're little, you know. Doctors try to give my kids that. I go, no, let's see what's possible, you
Mhm.
know. I did not, you know what? You probably have plenty input put for this, right? How about get an ESA?
I love an ESA. I
You
love
know,
ESA.
and can you tell us all the benefits of having an ESA?
I don't think we have enough time in the night to cover all of the benefits. Um, but honestly, all in all, I mean, there was a study done in the University of New York in Buffalo just
Mhm.
showing that people who own dogs or own pets have lower blood pressure ratings in stressful situations in
Wow.
comparison to people who don't.
Mhm.
Animals really do help to ground you,
Yes.
especially just they tend to have a very innate way and an innate ability to come to you when you need them the most.
Mhm.
Part of that's because we teach them that that's what we want. They come to us,
Yeah.
we feel upset, we show them affection, and they know that this is a good thing,
Mhm.
but they also know that there's something wrong.
Yes.
Animals very do they do absorb energy in a way where you can kind of feel your tension, feel your stress melting away after a bad day.
Yes.
When I finish a hard day at work and I go downstairs and I pick my dog up from daycare and she has that big smile, I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, this was worth it. This was worth it.
Yes,
They
definitely.
and even like it might sound crazy to people who aren't animal people,
Mhm.
but you can talk to your pet and not have to fear judgment, not have
Yeah.
to fear being told that you're wrong.
Mhm.
They're they're a perfect outlet. They give you an excuse to go outside and get sunshine. You have a creature that you have to get out of bed to care for. They rely on you
100%.
wholeheartedly. They are fully dependent on you. There are
Yes.
just so many different benefits from your health, your mental health, and even if you just need a reason to wake up,
Mhm.
there they are. ESAs are amazing and easily accessible.
Yes. Very true, and such responsibility, like, they allow you to have responsibility for another living being,
Hmm.
and it teaches you all those things that you didn't get focusing on your phone, you know?
Yeah.
Kinda get you out of the funk if you were in one,
Yeah. Oh,
and
100%.
yeah, and I think it's great because I got Karina a dog, and, her brothers were saying, "Oh, well, there's kids on campus, other students that have ESAs, and everybody looks at them funny because 'cause they're there with a dog." Well, they don't have the same attitude, not that their sister's gonna have an ESA,
Hmm.
you know? And there's an understanding of why to have one. It's not that these people are special or there's something wrong with them. No, they are actually trying to be responsible for what's going on in their lives and, to change it without having to take medication for something that the doctor is too happy to prescribe a pill to you for, you know? And find that I think that's a good choice, and I find it crazy that everybody wants to just give a pill. Karina's doing so much better after getting her dog. What a change. That's
Yeah.
all I gotta say. Gets her outside, makes her happy, is there for her, everything you just said. And she's off to college, and the transformation's already there.
I'm very
And
proud of her.
yeah, and protection, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
even though not all dogs are made for protection, they at least alert you,
Yeah.
you
There
know?
is a level of security that just comes with having a dog.
Mhm. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, there are ways to do things if you're going to diagnose, but and the parents just easily go and medicate. There are a lot of children dying these days because they're on depression medication and they didn't understand because what the depression medication takes away your sense of what's the word for it? Um, like, when judgment takes
Mhm.
away your sense of judgment. So, and it makes you kind of cold in a way, manner wise or your feeling wise. You can't relate or connect to your feelings. It numbs your feelings. That's what the medication does. So, there are kids who've been on medication who committed suicide because that's what would have been better for them, and their feelings were disconnected and they didn't understand.
Yeah.
And they just did it without thinking, or they've hurt people because They were on medication and could not connect to their feelings, and they became more ruthless,
Yeah.
you know?
And the amount of people that I know as well as adults who got put on antidepressants as a kid or as a teenager, them saying, I don't like the way that this makes me feel,
Mhm.
and attempting to wean themselves off of it,
Mm.
not a single one of them has had an easy time. It's
Oh.
been physically and emotionally taxing. Um, they understand for the most part. There's a couple who just gave up and just went back to taking them, but they
Mhm.
understand for the most part that after all is said and done that they will feel better.
Yeah.
But once as you start, it's almost like an addiction, like the withdrawals that you go through and your body balancing out its hormones. It's
Mhm.
hell.
100%, because what happens is that when you are most of these medications will increase your neurotransmitter levels like serotonin,
Hmm.
your epinephrine, right? Um, so what happens when that kind of thing happens? Your body now has no need to produce it naturally. This drug is giving it to you or driving it in a specific way. So the natural way that your body produces this thing has stopped. It's no longer functioning in the way it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
Or, like for example, like a lot of people, many people can relate to is melatonin. Everybody takes melatonin to fall asleep. Oh, I can't fall asleep. Let me just take some melatonin. They take two melatonins every night, and then in a week, that's not enough. They can't sleep anymore. They need three or four, and it keeps adding up. But the more melatonin you take, your body stops making the melatonin. Now you need more, you know? And you are harming yourself instead of helping yourself. Besides the fact that a lot of these medications that are antidepressant medications impact your liver in a bad way, impact your kidneys and other organs. Okay. And a lot of the toxic substance sits in your fat tissue. So you're walking around with it. And then a lot of people have obesity problems this day too. The youth of today are just so obese because they're sedentary and in blue light, sitting inside in front of blue light screens all day long,
Hmm.
you know? So there's a lot going on, and then a lot of brainwashing happening because that's what the screen does, right? And and then of course, like you said, self-diagnosis happens once that happens, and then the medication. But I think for my guidance for what can be done, decide what you want to do with vaccines, right? Space them out if you feel it's needed. Back in the day, trust me, before vaccines, what happened? People still survived. Okay? They didn't die like crazy. I don't think vaccines are needed. And I'm a virologist. I made vaccines. Most of these vaccines, you can get over it. And the rest of them create more problems. Okay? If you take human papilloma vaccine, the HPV Gardasil, that is more harmful to you taking it than not. And it's to prevent sexually transmitted, well, well, sex diseases because of sex, right? Let me just say it that way. It doesn't prevent sexually transmitted diseases like other things, but it helps with human papillomavirus. Now, most of the time these kids are getting it, they shouldn't be having sex at that age. No? And this virus literally causes tumors. So you're kind of giving them a vaccine that does that. So what are their chances? Then you're going to give them an anti-cancer vaccine, right? That's what they're trying to develop. You know, you give a chickenpox vaccine, and then you later on give the shingles vaccine to the adult. Does it make sense? There's more chance of having shingles as an adult if you receive the chickenpox vaccine than if you actually got the chickenpox. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. And there's so many more cases of shingles than there ever were before. And it's a bad virus to get because it's chickenpox that comes back. And at that time, your immune system is so malfunctioned that there's a guy that was talking to the other day. He has shingles in his eyes. He's got wires all on his body to help because of what the shingles virus is doing to him. It's messing with his whole nervous system.
That's horrible.
Yeah. All because you took the original vaccine that was unnecessary. And so you have to decide what to do with that. As for the foods you feed your children, anything that's a whole food is a better option, even if you're going to a grocery store and you go, okay, the organic is too expensive for me. Fine. Doesn't matter. Buy a whole food, buy a strawberry, even if it doesn't say organic on it, you
Yeah.
know? That's better than going there and getting them processed strawberry flavored cereal
Mm-hmm.
because there's not no fruit content in it, right? So if you buy every things from outside, so everything in the middle of the grocery store is usually processed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go on the outside of the grocery store, it's all whole foods usually, from fruits and vegetables, and then you go to root vegetables and things, then you go to meats and cheeses, right? Then dairy and breads. That's what's on the outside. And these are all whole food things. It's that easy. Just go outside, don't go in the middle rows. Huh?
Shop the perimeter.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll have a healthier child. And instead of giving them something sugary, give them an apple, give them carrots. It'll give them more energy. Give them some nuts. And if nuts, there's an allergy, give them cheeses.
Mm-hmm.
Protein sustains your energy better than anything else, you know? So instead of giving them sugary stuff, that doesn't give you energy. It actually gives you energy for a short time, gives you a sugar spike and back down. Give them protein. It also stabilizes mood. And so they don't have the ups and downs. And so you got an even keeled child that has energy the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so much better. Peanut butter, you know? Um,
Frozen grapes and lemon juice.
there you go.
Better than any popsicle.
100%. And yogurt, that's
Mm.
also not the Dannons, like a real yogurt. Add some fruit to it, right? And even a yogurt popsicle is better, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's frozen yogurt ice cream. There are lots of healthy options out there. Make your own. It's not that hard. And so these things are that is an easy fix because I had a parent come to me and needed help with a child. And I said, well, what's the first thing happening to your child? What are you feeding? That was my first question. And she's like, well, they eat these macaroni and cheese from a box and blah, blah, blah. I go, oh, God, how about we eliminate that first? Because when you eat those things, there's no nutritional value.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's no nutritional value in your food, your body wants nutrition, not food. So if you fed it something, but it's not nutritious, you're going to be hungry in a very short time.
Right.
And then you're going to eat again, ramen noodle or something. Again, no nutritional value. So you're going to keep eating and you're going to keep gaining weight. And you're not going to have enough energy. And you're going to wonder why you're feeling sick and having stomach aches, right? And that leads to headaches and other issues. Instead, if you give them healthy foods that are real foods that have nutrition in it, that cuts out a lot of issues. Helps mental focus and clarity, helps them focus in school and do well. Helps them have enough energy to run around and be outside and play sports. So fixing vaccines, we got the food, and screen time needs to be limited. I did not give my kids screen for a very long time. And they got their first cell phone when they were in middle school, um, and they had to share. It was 1 per 3, and they got it like they had to share 1 week each, and they would rotate, okay? And that's how they had it, and they were not I got them the lowest data plan, so they couldn't download any games or social media or things. They had social media, but they weren't allowed to have accounts, and it was used to call,
Mm.
okay? And that's what they used it for until they got to high school, and even then, they had all their own phones because their high school was big and they needed to communicate with me. But what happened was, I always get them the lowest data plan. So you can't be doing too many things on your phone except for calling, and that's it. Texting and leaving a message, and that's it, you know? I also signed them up for sports and really encouraged them. And if they wanted trainers, I took them to trainers, whatever you want. It taught them a lot to play sports. It teaches them, if it's a team sport, it teaches them teamwork.
Mhm.
It teaches them skills. It teaches them how to be healthy, because if you're playing sports and you're eating donuts, you're going to be throwing up on the sidelines
Yeah.
with
Or
all
not
the running
even,
around.
there are some kids, I am one of those kids, don't ask me to play a sport. Do not
Mm,
put a bat in my hand, do not put a stick in my hand, do not put a ball in my hand. Not
okay.
happening. Marching band. I play the
Hmm.
flute. Part of
Oh,
the team.
perfect.
I was still outside in the summer. Loved
Wow.
doing it. Art club.
Mm-hmm.
Still around other kids. Still
Mm,
socializing. Still working. Just be part of a community.
yes. 100%. And put a dog in your hand too, right?
Oh, 110%.
Yes. So many ways, as you're saying, not just sports, but many ways you can find that to get your kid to be active and be outside. And the sun itself, if you when you're out in the sun, you get lots of vitamin D, vitamin E's. It does so many things if you're in the morning, especially, and it hits your eyes. It fixes a lot of your hormonal cycles in your body. People don't realize that because we're not educated to know. And then if you go and do in red light therapy rooms and things like that, they tell you put glasses on to prevent the red light from hitting your eyes, because God knows what it'll do to your eyes. You know what it does to your eyes when you look at the sun in the morning, where it's the maximum red light? It actually fixes a lot of pathways and creates health in your body just by looking at the sun in the morning. And they prevent you from doing that, right? But if your child is outside doing outdoor activities, walking a dog, you do first thing in the morning, right? And that is perfect, to be outside and do things naturally. Your child is healthier
Hmm.
despite the challenges of what we are being exposed to in today's world, right? The, we're forced to be on phones. You have to. If you're a human in today's world, you can't function without having a cell phone or something,
Right.
right? So this at least gets them outside. Um, then the sun gives you lots of nutrition without realizing, because sun just, I mean, think about it. It gives the energy to the plants. That's
Hmm.
how we even have food to begin with. No? So um all these things, like just going outside, has such a huge impact. What else was I was thinking something else and it slipped out of my mind. But so the vaccine needs to be addressed, the food needs to be addressed, to get outside, um, play. But I also think there has to be a huge component of communication
Hmm.
with the parent and the child. We cannot allow our kids to be exposed to so many things without our knowledge,
Hmm.
and not being a micromanager. But what are you watching? Who are you talking to? Because I hear a lot of kids, what's happening out of Taiwan, There are people that go on the internet, find a way to connect on social media to children all the way here in the US, and they're scamming them. Somehow they're getting pictures or making comments. Oh, I saw you doing this to the child and blackmailing them. And because of that, a lot of kids are killing themselves because they're so scared as to what this person will expose. And they're asking them for money. Okay. Pay me money so I don't show your parent or your friends this. And I don't post on your social media. There was a whole TV show on it. And they don't know how to find all these people in Taiwan that are doing this. But there's a whole market, you know? And there are many children who are just killing themselves because of what's happening on social media. Parents should pay attention. No, I do not post my kids' pictures on my whole time they're growing up. If you saw a picture of my child, it will be in a group, and you will not know who my child is unless you know them.
Mhm.
You know, it was always a team picture, and that was it. It was never, oh, here's my child. He's turned 13, first day of school.
Yeah.
You know, every parent is doing that. There are so many pictures and information available that people can just use that to target your children in
Mhm.
any and every way possible. And that is harmful to your children. But at the same time, you got to pay attention. That was a little tangent, but you got to pay attention to what's happening to your kids. What are they listening to? What are they learning? And if it's not good content, you got to guide them away from that.
Mhm.
You know, I like that my kid, she'll be laughing at herself, and I'll say, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm reading." You know, I said, "Okay, fine." And I'll look at it and say, "What are you reading?" And I'll ask her a few questions to know that she's actually reading something. And when I say reading, she's reading like books online,
Mhm.
and that's what she's doing. And I said, "Okay, fine. Go right ahead. That's okay." But if you're sitting there and watching things and gossip, like they have a lot of these reality TV things and their
Mhm.
dramas. Oh my God. I think
So
they're
much
like the
drama.
worst. Huh?
There's so much drama. So much.
Yeah. Well, if you are exposing yourself to drama all the time, what are you going to do? You're going to bring that right into your house. You're being brainwashed to do drama.
Mhm.
And that's crazy. You know? Why can't kids just have a normal, simple life? Enjoy, read books, enjoy, play games, have fun with friends. Yeah, fight a little bit. So what? You know, everybody does that,
It
right?
teaches conflict resolution skills.
Exactly. And it teaches you how to protect yourself
Mhm.
really fast, self-defense,
Mhm.
because if you don't know, you're going to get hurt.
And I think it's having those real life experiences instead of just sitting inside on an iPad computer in front of a TV
Mhm.
is what helps them to build the confidence to go out into the real world. Because if
Yeah.
you're shut in all the time and then you're thrown out of the nest, fly baby bird,
Yes.
you're gonna fail.
You're right. You know, that you made a good point right there. And that is what is happening too, is that um kids are, you know, at home, sheltered. I guess that's a right word for this. You're sheltered in a really interesting way. And then you get put out there, and there's also a shock for them.
Hmm.
And then they begin to shut down because they don't know how to help themselves. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But if you're there as a parent, um, I guide my kids. I educate my kids. I guide my kids. I'm there when they take that step to do what they need to watch. I don't touch, I watch. And unless they really need my help, I don't move forward to make a change and help them out. So basically, teaching them how to do the stuff before they're out of the house, you know? So when they're in college, they know how to interact just fine with people.
Hmm.
They know how to go and work with people. And if they need to advocate for themselves, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
And if they need to find a job and work hard, they'll know how to do it. And because I've always taken them with me. If I've got to do farm work, it's not mommy doing all the farm work on the volunteer hours that we have to give. I take them with me, and I do more hours than we're supposed to do, so my kids can get the experience of what it's like to do hard work.
Yeah.
That's very important. They need to be taught how to work, and then nothing comes for free.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work at it. And one thing I always tell my kids, which is important, is every parent gives their child information, protection, guidance. Honestly, we don't have to do any of it. You can just have children, pop them out, and let them go. You really can. Some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my kids, look, it's my time, my energy I devote to you. I'll say something to you 100,000, whatever, 100,000 sometimes if I have to, because I care about you.
Right.
And I want to be your parent in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm spending that time to do that, all I'm asking is for you to actually participate.
Yeah.
Listen, learn. Because the thing is that parents' experiences, like, you ever seen those Russian dolls?
Yeah, the Russian nesting dolls.
Yes. The inside doll is what a child is. That's their world. It's just them when they're born, right? Till like maybe 5, 6 years age, right? Then they may go out to that second layer, but they'll be there for a long time. The whole time the parent is out like 5, 6 layers out. So a lot of times my kids are like, you don't know, you don't understand. And imagine the parent being 5, 6 layers out while the kid is all the way in the inside layer of those Russian dolls. No, we see through like 3, 4 steps ahead of you every
Mm-hmm.
moment. We have the bigger perspective. We've been there, done that. So the children who are fighting without realizing what they're doing need to understand the parents have a lot of guidance and wisdom to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents, when they're encouraging, a lot of times are like, you don't understand. My parent is so tough and they're mean to me. Yeah, your parent is only putting effort to you because they care about you. Maybe they don't know how to express it to you. I 100% would agree with that, right? But that doesn't mean that your parent doesn't care about you. They
Right.
care about you. That's why they verbalize something to you. That's why they put energy into it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you too, at 23 years old, there is not a single time that I didn't think back and go, I should listen to my mom.
Yeah,
Should have.
right.
She knew.
Mm-hmm.
She knew. She always does.
Yeah, yeah. See, imagine you're saying that now, right? Already. And as life goes on,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to be able to check more and more things off the list to say, yep, that she knew that there,
Should
she
have
knew
listened to my
this.
mom.
Yeah,
Should have.
yeah. And their parents really care. If you have children, they don't know the best way to show it. I get it. Not
Mm-hmm.
not every parent does. But that doesn't mean they're not going to try.
Yeah.
And instead of complaining about it, how about seeing the best parts of it? And trying to actually get off your device and having a conversation with your parent.
Mm-hmm.
And
For relationships.
100%. And that's where I think that the solution for today's youth and today's problem is connection with the parents, developing it. It has to go both ways. Parents have to participate as well as the child. Healthy foods, healthy habits to be outside and exercise and off the screen. And pay attention to your vaccine schedule and things like that. And have goals. Actually, that's one thing that I do want to say is that a lot of kids don't know that everything is cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
So every major is a cookie cutter major in school. And you ask them, what do you want to be? And it was funny. I was also listening to this comic. He's Sri Lankan, and he says, nobody says I want to be the manager of, a technology company that does, makes these stupid toys,
Hmm.
right? Nobody says that. And he's like, everybody wants to be a firefighter. They'll say firefighter or a policeman or, something like that. It's like, because everybody would be rather going into a burning building and take the chance to die rather than be a manager of some stupid toy company,
Yeah.
you know? Because whoever thought of that? But this is what today's world's about. You go in there as a bio major, you go in there as a technology major, you go in there as a business major, and you've got this crazy, stupid job after.
Hmm.
It's not what they were looking for. That's not what they dreamt about as a child. But there has to be goals set, and there has to be understanding, I feel, because these days everybody's in a cookie cutter job. You go and get this major, and then you go and graduate, and you do this and this. How we are reinventing our majors, our lives, our careers. Me and Danny went in as bio majors, headed to do research, science, medicine. We are doing things that are making more change than we did with our majors.
Hmm.
Acupuncture and oriental medicine, hypnosis and emotional freedom technique. I've felt more fulfilled doing this and felt more successful at helping people make great change in themselves than I did doing the career I paid money to go to school for. It did help me to be a scientist. It helps me because what I do now, I keep records, I keep tabs, and I experiment and try things and learn. So that helped me out a lot, and it's still important to me. I use it, but I find that if you have to think outside of the box these days.
Hmm.
You know, find something you really like that you can get behind, even if it's not a career. Make it happen.
Yeah.
No, go
I mean,
get. Sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
it doesn't always have to be this larger than life career either.
No.
I never thought that I would end up as a receptionist, wholeheartedly.
Hmm.
But I'm happy. I love my job. My bills are paid. And I
Yeah.
still have time outside of work to be myself and make sure that I'm doing justice by myself and living my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be just that, just a job that pays your bills and you're still happy.
Yeah. I mean, how much fulfillment is in that? That's huge, right?
Hmm.
Nobody else is doing it for you. You're paying your own bills and you're earning your own money and you're taking care of yourself and you're happy doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And,
It's,
you know, yeah, that's it. I find that have goals, have something to work with towards. And I was talking to the child today. He's like, oh, I go to Lawrenceville High School. Parents paid, right? Because that school is expensive, hard to get into. But once you get in there, everything is set. No goals. Kind of knows what career. I said, how about you make goals that you want, the way you want it, and you direct your education instead of them telling you what you should be doing.
yeah.
Then you will have motivation to complete. You will make your path your own instead of somebody else put you there and somebody else is guiding you forward and you're doing somebody else's job.
Make your own happiness.
100%. So anyway, I think we addressed a lot of the things and gave some hopefully good tips.
I strongly agree. We definitely covered a lot today.
Yes.
Good thing is, if you ever need to look back, you can find us on Rumble and YouTube. Always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I always love having you on.
Thank
As
you.
always, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Rumble, Facebook, all the places. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for joining us for What's Up Wednesdays, the professionals of the Roundtable, and we will see you next week.